stop scrolling and ask yourself a serious question. When was the last time a motorcycle made you smile simply by looking at it? I'm not talking about a 200-horsepower superbike that terrifies you, or an adventure bike that costs as much as a small house. I'm talking about the pure, unfiltered joy of two wheels and an engine. For decades, the motorcycle industry has been obsessed with more power, more weight, more technology, and more expense. But in that race for excess, we lost something vital. We lost the connection. We lost the simplicity. Well, Honda has finally hit the brakes on the madness. They have looked back at their golden era and decided to resurrect a legend. If you thought the 100cc segment was just for delivery drivers and budget commuters, prepare to have your mind completely blown. The 2026 Honda CB100 is here, and it's not just a motorcycle, it is a time machine with a modern heart. Introduction. The return of the citizen's bike. To understand why this bike is such a massive deal, we have to look at the landscape of 2026. The streets are crowded, fuel prices are fluctuating, and parking is a nightmare. The world doesn't need another heavy, hot-running monster for the city commute. It needs a hero. The original CB100 was that hero for a previous generation, a bike that built nations, carried families, and refused to break. The 2026 model is a love letter to that legacy, but do not mistake this for a lazy re-release. Honda hasn't just dusted off old blueprints. They have reimagined the commuter as a premium lifestyle product. This is part of Honda's Neo-Classic initiative, designed to bring the build quality of their premium 350cc and 500cc bikes down to the accessible entry-level market. It's a bold move that says, you don't need a big engine to have big style. Design philosophy, minimalist perfection. Let's dive deep into the visuals, because this is where the CB100 immediately separates itself from the plastic-heavy competition. The first thing that hits you is the absence of clutter. There are no fake vents, no sharp alien angles, and no cheap stickers. The design language is timeless utility. The fuel tank is a work of art, a sculpted teardrop metal tank finished in deep, glossy paint with the classic 3D Honda wing emblem in chrome. It reminds you of the legendary CB750 from the 70s, just scaled down. The fenders are actual brushed metal, not flimsy plastic that rattles over bumps. The headlight is a perfect circle, honoring tradition, but inside housing is a piercing, multi-element LED setup with a daytime running light halo that gives the bike a distinct, premium face in traffic. It looks like a custom build straight out of a boutique garage, yet it rolled right off the factory line. Engine and engineering. Small but mighty. Now, let's talk about the beating heart of this machine. You might hear 100cc and think, slow, but you need to reset your expectations. This is a brand new engineered block from Honda. It is a 99.8cc, single-cylinder, air-cooled engine, but it is equipped with the latest generation of Honda's ESP, Enhanced Smart Power Technology. The engineers have focused on friction reduction, using offset cylinders and roller rocker arms to make the engine spin freely with almost zero resistance. The result? It is buttery smooth. The vibration that usually plagues small engines is virtually non-existent here. The exhaust note has been tuned as well. It doesn't sound like a lawnmower. It has a low, rhythmic thrum, a purposeful pop, pop, pop at idle that sounds mechanical and robust. It produces around 9 horsepower, which sounds modest, but with the bike weighing in at a featherlight 98 kilograms, the power-to-weight ratio makes it incredibly nippy in the 0 to 60 km/h zone, which is where you spend 90% of your time in the ride dynamics, the magic carpet ride. How does it handle the chaos of the urban jungle? In one word, effortlessly. Honda has gone with a chassis setup that prioritizes comfort over sporty aggression. The frame is a diamond-type steel structure that offers just the right amount of flex. Up front, you have telescopic forks with classic rubber gaiters, a nice retro touch that protect the seals and add to the vintage look. In the rear, you get dual shock absorbers that are adjustable for preload. This setup soaks up speed bumps, potholes, and gravel patches like they aren't even there. The seat is a flat, ribbed bench design with thick, high-density foam. It's wide enough to be comfortable for long rides, but narrow enough at the front to let riders of any height flat-foot the bike easily. Because it's so light, flicking it through gridlocked traffic feels telepathic. You don't steer this bike, you just think about turning, and it happens. The surprise reveal. The digital heritage feature. I promised you a surprise, and this is the feature that is going to make you rethink what a budget bike can do. Usually, on a 100cc retro bike, you're lucky to get a fuel gauge. The 2026 Honda CB100 flips the script by hiding advanced tech in plain sight. Embedded within that single, round analog speedometer is a high-contrast OLED digital insert. This digital heritage console connects via Bluetooth to your smartphone, using the Honda RoadSync app. Yes, you heard that right. Navigation on a 100cc classic. It gives you turn-by-turn arrows, call alerts, and message notifications right on the dash, without ruining the vintage look with a giant iPad screen. But the real surprise is the eco-coaching light ring. The outer ring of the speedometer changes color subtly from blue to green to let you know when you are riding in the infinity zone for maximum efficiency. It gamifies your commute, challenging you to be as smooth as possible. Practicality and economy, the inflation buster. Speaking of efficiency, we have to talk about the numbers, because this is where the CB100 becomes a rational purchase, not just an emotional one. Thanks to the PGMFI fuel injection and the start-stop system, which kills the engine at red lights and silently restarts it when you twist the throttle, the mileage figures are absolutely insanity. Early real-world tests are reporting figures between 85 to 95 kilometers per litre. With its 10.5-litre tank, you are looking at a theoretical range of nearly 900 kilometers on a single fill-up. You could realistically fill this bike up on the first of the month and not visit a gas station until the next month. In an economy where fuel prices are constantly rising, the CB100 pays for itself. It is practically free transportation that looks like $1 million. The verdict, a modern classic. So, is the 2026 Honda CB100 worth the hype? Absolutely. It sits in a class of its own. It is not trying to be a racer, and it is not a cheap, disposable delivery bike. It is a premium, entry-level machine for people who appreciate style and engineering but don't need excessive power. It brings the pride of ownership back to the small displacement category. When you park this at a cafe, people will ask you what year it is. They will admire the chrome and the lines. And when you tell them it gets 90 kilometers to the litre and has Bluetooth navigation, their jaws will drop. It is the smartest, most stylish, and most sensible choice you can make on two wheels this year. Outro, your next move. The 100cc category has finally woken up, and the competition is going to have to scramble to catch up to this standard. We are currently working on a head-to-head comparison video where we pit the CB100 against the Yamaha XSR 125 and the Kawasaki W175 to see if the smaller engine can truly keep up with the big boys. The results of that drag race were unexpected, to say the least. You do not want to miss that showdown, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. If you want the most honest, detailed, and passionate reviews on the internet, you are already in the right place. Keep it locked to Bike Updater Pro. Thanks for watching, ride safe, and I will see you in the next one.